all that time to think. But you don't think the same way, you are a bit high. That sensation is there, so actually you're not as stressed because you've got that sense of calmness, but that's just medication that's keeping you in that
the
state.
cloud sort of thing.
I did it to try and get moving, but I couldn't move my foot at all. I was dragging my foot. It was very painful and it was hard to walk. And then I came home and again I just thought I'm going to have to treat this like a job. My business is gone. I couldn't go to work. I was disabled, and I thought, okay, so how am I going to deal with this? So I chunked it down. I just thought, okay, this is where I am, this is where I need to be, or I want to be, how I'm going to get there. I didn't know how long it would take, but I fell over a lot, because my proprioception was gone. I had no spatial awareness. That was the biggest thing. If someone called my name, my whole body would have to turn, but I would turn and fall over. So if anybody bumped into me, I would just fall on the floor. It's that thing we take for granted where you can stop falling. Took me a long time to deal with that, and then I just started my journey. I started 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, and it took me. I was walking with sticks probably for about 2 years.
After that.
Yeah, and.
How did that? Sorry, if you hold that thought, because I want to just slightly go back a little bit. What was your goal? How did your goal change? How did that affect? What were you envisaging, imagining in front? What were you heading to?
I just thought I would run again, because running was a passion of mine, and I just the thought of never running again, I just couldn't comprehend that. There was just no way that was ever going to be a thing. Even if I had to put a roller skate on my leg that didn't work, I would run. I just thought, no, this is not acceptable. This is no way. This is just not happening. Not and I have to say, it wasn't really in a negative way. I didn't say, oh, poor me, ever. Really? Well, I can't say ever because I can't remember. Probably did. I was cursing sometimes, but one of the things I remember finding a neurophysiotherapist. She was a brain neurophysiotherapist in Newcastle, amazing woman. And first thing she did was teach me how to fall over. And nobody had taught me up to that point how to fall over, so that was just a relief. But she asked me what my goal was going to see her. And I said, look, I know it sounds really vain, but I've always worn high heels, and I want to put a pair of heels on again. And she started laughing. She said, well, that's fine. I thought that was just a pathetic goal, really. And a bit vain, I suppose, a bit of vanity. But it's a bit like another feminine thing that I did that I loved. I enjoyed wearing, great pair of heels and dancing and stuff like that. And then suddenly I'm in flat shoes. I've expanded my weight. The steroids, I went from probably around about 8.5 stone, and I went up to about 13 stone in a rapid way. It wasn't fat. It was fluid. I was bloated. I was round. My shoulders came up. My stomach, I couldn't control my stomach at all. Everything just became round, and I just became this unrecognizable person. And from somebody who was really fit, I couldn't control my muscles, and that was a real shocker. And I've got a photograph that I took of me standing in the bathroom with a towel on my head, and my eyes, I can just see it. My eyes were sunken and staring, and it was just like, who are you? I'm lost. I've gone. Where am I? I have to find that person. Where's Jo? Where's she gone? So I had to do all of that and deal with that.
Any specific exercises that you think helped you, that maybe you kind of developed for yourself, maybe? Because you know, maybe some of the listeners went through pretty much same or are in such a situation when their mobility is infringed, or what was the right word for it? It's not. It's different. So, is there anything that helped you, or maybe thoughts, ideas, or processes, exercises that helped you in particular?
I think straight away is the word adventure, which does sound a bit strange to put that word in that event, but I looked at my life or change in my life as, instead of being a devastating thing, what adventure could I take out of that? So what positive, I suppose that might make more sense to people. How could I look at that as a positive thing? So what was I capable of doing rather than what was I not capable of doing anymore? So initially the thought is, when you have sickness and you're told, the words, you have cancer, or a brain tumor, or whatever it is, it could be. It may not be as devastating a word as that, because it depends on the individual. But when that happens, instead of looking at what you've lost, what you're losing, or what's negative, to change the perspective and look at what you have, that you're capable of doing. What is it that I'm strong at? What is it that I'm good at? What do I still have the ability to do? And to focus on what you can do rather than what you can't do. Because if you continually focus on what you've lost, you can't change that.
What I might have, what I could have, what I have now, like what I can do.
Yeah, because in that moment, your life has changed. You are different. You are a different person from that moment. That you have surgery or that you have a sickness, and your life is going to change. So you either have to go with that change in the most positive direction that you can, or it consumes you. It consumes you, and it's not just you. It's everybody around you is affected. People, your family, your friends. They don't want to show you that they're scared, but it affects them as well. They're right. Part of that. They're part of that journey. So, for me, and again, this is a personal experience. I looked at what am I able to do, rather than what am I not able to do. What do I want to be able to do? How am I going to get from here to here? And what strengths do I have? What supportive strengths do I have that are going to get me there? Sure. So I looked at changing my perspective. That for me was the biggest thing. How can I change my perspective? But what happened is, in that recovery period, because I couldn't go back to work, I went and studied. I decided to study as a master practitioner, NLP practitioner, because I decided that I had to put into practice the things that I knew, because I'd already done a few NLP courses and trainings, but I just thought, right, this is my time to do this. And so I was attending these learning, but my brain wasn't really functioning as it should have been. My head, it was quite hard. It was quite tough, because I found it hard to sit still, to sit in one place. There's a lot of mobility issues, going up and down stairs and things like that, and it was quite awkward. But I just thought, I've got to do something, so I studied in that time, and that's how I started my journey. And it opened my eyes to how I could make change, and actually I started to learn things that I'd never done before. So I then got new skills that I don't think I would ever have learned. Had that not happened in my life, and it did send me on a direction in a direction that I'd never envisaged. And I think one thing we spoke about at one point was I didn't know what the person would have been like at the age of 26 that hadn't had cancer. So although my life was tough in those events, I've had a brilliant life. I have had a really, really great life. I love my life.
You're focusing, even as you're talking, you're focusing on the positive, because some people might focus on those things that happen, terrible things that happen. You might say like, I had a shit life, one after another. This happened, and you're looking for positive. But sorry for digressing.
No, I've had a great life.
Yeah.
I believe I have had a really great life. My mum said to me about a year or so before she died, she said, "I'm so sorry that you've been so unlucky in your life." And I was really shocked. I said, "Mum, I haven't been unlucky." I said, "I've had a couple of unlucky events in my life, but my life has been brilliant. I've loved my life no matter what, even with the changes."
Yeah.
I don't know what or who I would have been had that not happened. And actually, my life may have been worse.
Yes.
In a different way. Yeah. So who knows? Who knows?
But can I just because there's something after this, as well. Quite a lot of happening, up until now as well. Yeah. But I just wanted to, go back slightly a bit in terms of from the first, because I think that was the first type of like such a shift in your in everything that's in your life. It's like it shifted everything out of the tune. It's detuned and untuned everything that you've been tuning up.
Yeah.
Would you, if you go back now a bit, back in that time, after the news and in the process of when you were thinking about what would I do? No kids and everything. My life is gonna be. What would you do differently that you think that would help you in that situation, or maybe will help you or help someone else as well?
For me, I think one of the things I never felt like I had time to understand what was happening to my body, and suddenly my body belonged to everybody else. I belonged to everybody else. They had to just deal with me. And
you mean friends or
doctors? Doctors. You become, you just go through this process, and that's necessary because I wouldn't be here without modern medicine. I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
However, one of the biggest changes I made was to the way I eat.
Yeah.
What I put into my body, what I tell myself, because I thought something is breaking down. And that was very early on. Something is breaking down here. There must be some correlation to maybe I'm not feeding myself the way I should, training too hard, or not drinking enough water. So it could have been a lot of contributory things. I forgot what the question was.
Yeah, the question was, what would you do differently? Where did you go?
What would I do differently? I don't know. What would I do differently?
Yeah, would you like maybe go earlier? Would you stop like thinking about the shit that you cannot do? I think that would be one of the things, perhaps, or maybe not. But
you have to give yourself time to grieve.
That's right. Good.
You do have to give yourself time to grieve, and it has to be done in the way that you are able to deal with it.
Yeah.
Not everybody deals with things the same way, and there will be, I have an ability to put a positive spin on some of the most awful situations that I faced, and not just in my health, but in life events that have happened. But I do appreciate that not everybody can do that, or not everybody wants to do that. They want to try that on and make it's them, is what they are identified with. I think, and had I had the ability to understand that I was more than my body. I was more than that. There was, my spirit, my I don't know,
Why
connection.
do you think you didn't see that?
I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it then. It's something that I've learned from people. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. But I don't think the time was right for that sort of learning to come into my life. Then just don't think it was right. But I do remember thinking there was nowhere for me to go, that I could just go and be authentic about how I felt, because I didn't want to upset anybody or hurt anybody, but I knew I was going to, because I had this massive turmoil, going on in my life. And I think it's not something I would change. I think what would have changed me a little bit, made it smoother, easier, was knowing that there was somewhere I could go, somebody who would understand what I was talking about and would be able to help. Just a quiet place where I could,
be with yourself.
Yeah, and try out stepping into opening up and talking, or not. Just somewhere quiet. I just remember wanting some space, but there was nowhere to go.
Why? Why is that? Because we were doctors and
because there was nowhere to go. I don't know if it was the generation, or I just didn't feel like there was anywhere for me to go that I could scream or go, oh, this is shit. Why me? Because it's not really something I ever say. Why me? Because it's just not something that is language that I use. But at that time, I remember wanting to say, why me?
Yeah.
Because it was like the first thing that comes up. But it's not something I carry through in my life to say, why me? Because it just is. That's the way I look at situations, it just is. And my life has been a series of adventures. That's the way I look at it, a series of adventures, some more difficult than others. And also changing your direction only occurs if you have a bit of wonderment at, well, where is this going to take me? How is this going to serve me? Going forward, how am I going to be able to do this? So I think that would be one thing that would have been helpful.
Right. I like the crowd walk. The example crowd walk.
Yeah.
Is this something that you've developed? And can you tell us about this?
Oh yeah. Well, when I was, I used to go for massage when I was recovering. So I'd walk from the brain tumour. So I would walk from my home to see my massage therapist Abby. And it was quite a busy area, so I would be walking with sticks, but I was always afraid of being bumped into because I was very awkward. I didn't feel very stable at all. And if you imagine, and this was quite funny, I thought it was quite funny, when they did the surgery, they shaved one side of my head. They didn't shave my whole head. And my hair was probably about this length. So this side of my hair was shaved, and this side of my hair was long, which looks really weird. And I looked like, and I actually they'd left some here. So and I don't know if you've seen Little Britain, but there's a character on there, Lou, out of Little Britain. He's got hair that's like a bald head and hair sticking out here. I just felt like him. And so when I was walking, when my hair started to grow back, this side grew up. And this side was down, and I had a bob. I should have just had all my hair shaved off, to be honest, but I didn't. And this hair was just growing up and up and up, not growing down like this side of my hair. So people would look at me and I go, oh, that's a bit funky, is that a funky hairstyle? Cool. I didn't know so I wore hats a lot, I did wear hats a lot, but this thing used to bother me, this hair thing going on. But so some of the people might see this woman coming with this hair thing going on with these sticks, and I would just adopt. I'll show you. I would just adopt this stance like this. Right, they're coming. They're coming. Ahead. Slightly leaning, and I sort of lean. I was like a skier. And I would just be like, right, I'm just going to walk through them. I'm going to walk through them, and if they bash into me, because my theory was if I was leaning
ahead
forward. It would be easier, but I actually didn't have an option because I really struggled, and I still have certain things I can't do or I struggle with. It's not that I can't do them, I'm just not quite there yet. That's the way I just not quite there. Where like standing back on my heels, which most people would do, is very difficult for me because I feel very unstable. So I used to call it my crowd walk, which would happen whenever I saw a crowd, and a crowd could just be 2 or 3 people. But I would adopt this like, right, here we go.
So you could get that
like an American footballer. I'm coming through.
Did people like react anyhow? Did you realize
it was a bit weird. It was a bit weird. And
this the woman had.
Yeah, and I used to be exhausted. I'd get to Abby's, and I'd only gone maybe quarter of a mile, and I used to get to Abby's studio, and I'd be exhausted. You know, seriously exhausted, and I'd only probably walked. Well, it'd probably taken me 30 minutes to walk that distance. It could have taken me longer, and the energy that you expend when you're, because you don't. It wasn't that anything worked. So I had to think about every step I took because my leg didn't work. So it's not like if you injure yourself and you just have to get it working again, It's that you have to work out how you walk.
Yeah.
You know, how do I do that? How do I lift my leg? Do I flick my leg from my knee? You know, so you've only got your only relationship is with your right leg. So you have to learn to love your right leg.
Yeah.
Because that's the one that's going to show the left leg what to do.
Yeah.
And so I spent a lot of time doing a lot of repetitive stuff. Yeah, to make that journey. And the crowd walking is one of those things.
Yeah, one of those things. Yeah, one of the exercises that helped. Yeah. When did you start seeing the changes? Like, and did you expect? And is the feeling how you are now? Where is it from your goal, your physique, kind of your target feeling? Are you kind of close to where you want to be, or
no.
Not yet?
No. I think the difficulty is, you know, when you are an athlete, you have a high expectation of what is acceptable for you, for your body. I thought I would be back to normal in 6 to 8 weeks to 10 weeks. I didn't realise it would 9 years later I would still be, you know, noticing minute little changes that were not there, were it's a journey, and it doesn't just stop. You don't just reach a destination. It's a constant, you know. For instance, we did a big walk today, you know, that if I'm on a height, I still know that I'm compromised. Yeah. You know, if I ride a bike, I can only turn right. So I can't ride a bike. Yeah. So I would have to just keep cycling and turning right. No, we've got to go right. Which is a bit of a problem if you're trying to get over there. Because I can't.
The good thing you never lost because you're coming to the same place.
Yeah. So you just have to keep going round and around the block like that. You'd have to find a way of finding a destination where you go like that. Yeah, there could be. Yeah. So things like riding a bike, skiing, which I used to love. I haven't done for many years. You know, but those are things that I used to do. I no longer do. I could learn them, but then I learned other skills. You know, yoga, which I've never done before. I always used to think, I don't do yoga, for goodness sake. Who does yoga? You know, I was a kickboxer, for goodness sake. Yeah, let's just go and kick some ass. Let's just be one with each other. But that was how I started to learn to get my balance. I started to go to yoga classes, and again, lots of falling, lots of wobbling, and that enlightened me. That really changed something in me, and I would never have done yoga had that not happened to me. So yoga, you know, stretching. I started to run again. You know, it took me a long time, but I actually found it easier to run than walk because running just meant I was very short time on that left foot. But I used to run badly, you know, in a really weird way. But I decided that as soon as I could run, I was always going to run. For the rest of my life, as long as I am capable of having the ability to run, I will run. You know, because I can. Even if I run badly, because I can, because it's that sense of freedom, that sense of, you know, look at what I can do. But I still have a way to go. You know, I work with people, I train people. You know, they could look at me and say, you know, I'm not a bodybuilder, but it doesn't matter. You know, I know what inside of this body there is the other body is there, but I'm not my body, as I keep saying. I'm not my body. I'm so much more, and I'm so comfortable with that. It doesn't matter if that's all that somebody sees. Then I'm not that interested. But I am fascinated, and I do. I'm fascinated about the body and how it functions, and people's goals and my own goals, and I don't think I'll ever get to the end of that journey, that learning journey. I still set myself. I still have aspirations, things that I want to do, but I had to change direction. When I had the brain tumor, I went into business because I could do that, but I could no longer do the physical. And went in and alongside some great people ran a really great business concept, which was a massive undertaking. The things that we did were massive, and would have frightened a lot of people, in business. And again, I sort of, for 6 years, 7 years did that, and then the company that I was the managing director for the company, had to put it into administration, and that was for me, I felt a really big sense of failure, which actually I don't feel that now, but at that moment in time I thought, all these people were losing their jobs. I had to tell everybody. I had to deal with all the fallout that comes from that. The criticism, the negativity, the things that the things that people saw. They didn't see the good.
Yeah.
That had been done. They didn't actually see that that's unfair. Actually, some people did see the good and saw the vision. We had a vision, and I had a vision. We had a vision. To create something great, and we did create something great.
Yeah.
We just ran out of money. That was the simple fact, and it happens to the best businesses in the world. We just ran out of money, and I learned some really valuable lessons from that about process, planning, knowing your business really well, and getting the right people in your business to drive it, and also to sticking to your plan. Go back to the core belief of why did you set that business up? What was the business that you envisaged, that you visualized? Because what can sometimes happen is people can come from outside and see another vision, and you go along that path because you think they know better. And I think that can have a serious effect on your business. I think sometimes there is a place that you do take a different path, but if you lose the fundamental core of what your business was about, the vision, what drove you, you lose your passion. Your passion's gone, because that was what it was. Unless that passion is motivated or starts to build with this other way to go. So the company went into administration, and I sort of retreated again and decided I still did some work with it, but I felt quite wounded, and quite exhausted, because I'd been working so hard, and I was exhausted, and I didn't really listen to my body well enough, and I actually had a couple of seizures at that time, which is the first time I had in like 6 years. Had that happen, and I just thought, no, I'm not, this is no way going to happen. And again, I started to change my life, and I trained as an independent natural juice therapist, so I learned about how fruits and vegetables could significantly support my body, how by flooding myself with really good product, really good stuff, could really feed my cells, awaken my body and give me the energy I needed to function. And I loved doing that, and it took me 2.5 years. I was a bit slow on biology. It just took me, like I say about reading, but reading a biology manual from cover to cover is actually really tough when you're really not into academia. But I did it, it didn't matter how long it took, I did it, and I was really proud when I qualified. But in that time, the reason I got interested in that was I flew over to Turkey to one of Jason Bale's retreats. and they called Jason Bay the juice master. And I'd flown over. One of my friends had said she'd been, and she said, I think it would really help you. And I flew in, and I spent a week there. And the first few days I was really sick. And then day 4, it was like this different person came out of me. And up to that point, I'd been taking, I'd had all these steroids, and I'd had, painkillers, and it was like my shoulders went down. Everything just sort of went, oh, thank God, something is working. And so those first 3 days, I don't think it was necessary. I was drinking the green juices. Sorry, Jason, I don't mean to say it was the green juices, but I think what it was my body was getting all this nutrition. I'd taken away, when you're taking away all the things that have been keeping you going, like all the drug, the medication, the coffee, the whatever, and you're flooding yourself with stimulants.
Yeah.
There is going to be a change, but I actually think it was the first time I'd been away. I'd been away to be able to, and I was sick.
Yeah.
It was like that sickness coming out of my body.
Toxins coming out.
Yeah, it was. It was like, and I can't even tell you the change that happened to me on day 4. The energy. I just was like, I slept well. I looked different. My eyes looked different. My body felt different. My brain functioned differently. Everything changed, and that's when I studied. I just thought, I love this stuff. This really works for me.
Yeah.
I want to know why it's working, and then I started to work on, from the inside out, goodness from the inside out. And I was doing the retail stuff, but I was working on something called JuicyJo's Kitchen, which is a little bit of a hobby, creating new juices and having some fun with it. And then when I left the retail, I decided that would be something nice to do, something good to do. I never envisaged it being my big passion. Mm-hmm. And I still work it as a hobby, but I love to be able to give people ginger shots and say, drink that'll make that'll make you feel great. Just drink it. It's something good. How can it be a bad thing to just give yourself some great nutrition?
Yeah.
So all of these things, all these skills I didn't have, led me to where I am now. And I now live by the sea, which I've never done before. And I love it down there. It's I live in just outside of Brighton in a place called Hove, by the sea, and I work with people. Every day I speak to some amazing people. I just get so much pleasure out of doing what I do. I just feel that it's what I'm supposed to do. I have an ability to understand what it's like to be that person that's going through something tough. Mm-hmm. And it can be any area. It can be in work, it can be sickness, it can be your relationship, it can be anything. You could put into practice just certain things that are going to really catapult you into a different direction and a different way, and that's what's happened. I'm here talking to you at this moment based on the fact that I just picked up the phone and or sent a message and just said, I keep thinking about what you're doing, and this is just, I just see some correlation in what we're doing.
Yeah.
And because I want to educate people, and especially young people, children, really, because they're the future, and just teach them the skills that we've lost, about looking after, nurturing ourselves, looking after ourselves, and believing in ourselves, which is the biggie. Believing you can make a change, even when something happens. So that's where I see.
Is that your goal? What do you have something that you envisage for the future, next 1-2 years? I don't know.
Yeah, I see myself standing on stage. I've seen that for a long, long time, and talking to lots of people about, life change. Simple methods, things that they will really enhance their life. But also retreats, setting up retreats and working with giving
What type
people,
of retreats?
it can vary, but
Health,
health. Things that are going to enhance somebody's health and well-being.
Perfect.
But for me, I think that the route has come to this because I remember being that person who needed somewhere to go, and not somewhere that's going to be sad. I don't. Although what I've talked to you about, there were, I don't make light of it, but there's so much positive has come from it. So much has come out of it that I look on those things as a positive, because it's part of my life, it's part of my journey. But it takes you to, it can take people time to realise that when it's happening to them.
Yeah, that's right.
So you can never make light of somebody else's situation. But yeah, retreats, spaces, places that people can come but it's about laughing at yourself and laughing at life and being around positivity. People that believe in you and say, yeah, of course you can do that.
Yeah.
Instead of, that might be a bit challenging. Well, we know it might be a bit challenging, some things.
Yeah.
But, I think what the tendency can be sometimes is for always to be the negative spin on.
Yeah, I think that's how we've been brought up. Sometimes it's linked to that, or what was the language we're using to talk to ourselves, or to even to use everyday use. Can you please tell me a little bit about the sign language? What and why you've done it and you've learned it.
Yeah. Well, when I came out of hospital, I was living in London, and then I couldn't do very much. I was
after the brain tumor.
Yeah, after the brain tumor, and I sort of had to work out how I was going to get my brain thinking, because sometimes what I found was I struggled with noise, lots of people talking at the same time. It was quite heightened, but also with listening to lots of conversations and putting pieces together and communicating seamlessly. It probably didn't seem that way to other people, but in my head, that's how it felt. It felt quite isolating, that inability to really. I felt like I was doing this when I was talking to maybe 3 or 4 people, and I wanted to get my hand-eye coordination working again.
Yeah.
And when I was a child, I think it was my father's aunt was deaf, and I remember going to visit them, and virtually the whole family was signing in the house, and I never forgot that. I thought I'd never seen anything like it. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
So anyway, I decided that I would see if I could find a sign language course, and I happened to live not far from Lambeth College, so I signed up with my friend. I asked her if she'd come with me, and we went, Mary, and we went to learn how to do sign language, and it was the hand-eye coordination.
Yeah, that helps your brain. That kind of triggered your brain.
Yeah, because you have to be very observant. When you're signing with somebody in the deaf community, you have to observe. A lot of it is about expression. It's about you bring your body, and your expression can mean the difference between whether it's just a small thing or whether it's quite a significant thing. There's a lot of noise, a lot of verbal communication, but not. I say there's a lot of noise. There is a lot of noise, but it's more like sort of like you could blow, and it could be very really observant. So you know how impacting it is when that person's trying to explain something.
Oh right, got it.
So I just wanted to do something and learn and get things working, together. And so I studied sign language, and then I studied for a year and a half in London, and then I moved up to Newcastle. I studied for a year up there, completed my course up there.
How do you think that affected you? What did that benefit to what you now, what you do now?
I've used it. I've used it on a number of occasions. I think it's like any language. If you don't use it enough, you forget. But this is going to sound terrible. Being a health coach, I was in a kebab shop recently. I decided I fancied a kebab one evening. No, I did, and I went to this fabulous kebab place in sort of on the border of Brighton and Hove. And they make really great halloumi sort of wraps, but they'll if you ask them, they'll stuff them full of salad. So it's pretty much like salad with some halloumi. And so I drove to get there. I've got places nearer to me, but this place is particularly good. I'd gone in, and there was myself and there was 4 other customers there, and I noticed that they were signing. They didn't say anything. That's the first thing. They weren't chatting. They were chatting, and I observed that they were signing, and pointing to the guy on the counter. So then this guy, one of them caught my eye, and I just started to sign. And I just said, "Oh, I know sign language." And he started to ask me questions, and my heart was going because I thought, he's going to ask me questions and I'm going to look like a complete idiot. But no, I had a conversation with them, and I was really like, wow, I still have the skill. I have the skill.
Who do you think that this technique or this ability to sign language, a person who can hear, who do you think it can benefit, or who is it useful for?
Well, I think really, the deaf community don't necessarily always have access to the things that we have. It can be quite isolating for people within that community. But I'm not a deaf person, so I don't know that. That's just a perception, I suppose. But it is known that in health terms, it's very difficult sometimes for them to be understood. So I think having access to somebody like myself who knows about health and well-being, and knowing that I can communicate, even no matter how basic it is, that I could communicate with that person would be beneficial, would help them. So I think it is a benefit, and I'd like to start producing some access to some coaching
for the deaf.
Yeah, for the deaf.
Cool.
They could benefit from.
I mean, I'm sure we can go for hours and hours on the subject, and it's amazing to have a chat with you, at any subject. But I just want to draw it to the final, and should we decide to do another one, we'll do another one on specific perhaps subject. But I have some quick questions that at the final I do, and. It can be a quick answer or it can be a longer answer.
I'll make it quick.
Make it quick.
Wrap it up. Come on, wrap it up. This girl can talk for England.
Can talk for England, that's right. This is funny. What if there would be an animal? What animal would you associate yourself with?
Oh, wow. A lion. A lion? Yeah. I should say lioness, but a lion. Yeah. The strength and courage, I think. I think cool. It would be that.
What would you do in an alien invasion?
Run. I go, hi, how you doing? Fancy a juice? I'll probably kill them all off with ginger shots,
With strong ginger shots.
Yeah, really strong ginger shot. That's what I'd say. Oh, you're looking a bit peaky. Try one of these. Try one of these. Yeah.
This is it might be a long one because I just forgot to ask you this, and it's quite important for me and to ask you this. And if we can make it short, because you can elaborate on this quite a long time, I think. Do you have any spiritual practice, and what it is?
Oh God, I do. Yeah, I mean, I meditate every day. Although I went through a period of time when I didn't, but when I meditate, which frightens a lot of people in so much as they think they have to go somewhere and do specific things, really. But by meditation, for me, it's about taking time every single day to sit quietly, to let go of any control over thoughts or actions or things that are going on around me, and just to be in that moment, which I must admit I'm doing more of now, being in the moment rather than thinking about what's coming and what's been. Just enjoying the moment rather than where am I going, what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen next week. You can refer to that, but meditation is about bringing your focus into to the moment. And what I find for me, when I'm still, it's the peaceful sense of being, understanding how my body's functioning, but also great things happen. Amazing things do happen.
Do you talk? Do you or breathing?
Yeah, I do. I breathe. I breathe. I chant. I'm going to sound like the crazy woman, which I am anyway. But yeah, the crazy health woman. I chant. There's certain chants I use. I speak out loud.
Yeah.
One thing I generally make sure I do is when I'm referring to perhaps things that I'd like to be coming into my life, I never ask selfishly. So it's like, it's not for me to keep. It's about the flow of things coming into your life and flowing. So it's always show me a way.
Butting through you in a way.
Yes, show me a way that this can, this situation can happen, and I'll make sure that the flow keeps going. So anything that comes into my life now, I take on, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not for me to keep. It's not for me just to be the only one that does that or knows that. It needs to be shared.
Good.
Meditation is very, very important. But I meditate when I run. I run, say, 4 times a week now, and running by the sea is incredible. And I run very early morning because the world is awakening, and for me that's probably the most spiritual time. So I run, and then I take time out to meditate, and I'm usually ready to work. I'm ready for action, sort of at 7:30 in the morning, 8, and I've already sort of run, meditated, planned, whatever.
When did you start meditating?
Actually, I was taught how to meditate after I had cancer. When I had cancer at 26. I met a lady in Manchester. Well, we didn't have access to the internet. There was no. The internet was there, but nobody had access to it. We didn't have computers the way we have them now. And I watched a television program called. It was by Michael Aspel, and it was called Beyond Belief. And they were talking about healing, and I was fascinated by it because I had this treatment, and I thought that's worth writing the number down. And it was the National Federation of Healers. So I wrote this number down, and I rang, and they gave me the names of 3 healers in the area, and they said go and see them all, and then work out who you prefer to work with you. And they didn't ask for money. They did, they asked for a donation towards maybe their time or something, but never asked you to pay. If you didn't want to pay, you didn't have to pay. And I went to see 2 of them, and the final one, Christine, I just really liked this woman. She was just so good. Her energy, warm, and just a great character. And she, originally I thought, well, she's going to heal me and I'll be able to have kids. That was my thought process. But I thought, no, it's a bit impossible, but maybe it could work. But actually, she healed this. That was the power. She healed my head. She taught me how to meditate. She taught me how to be observant of things that were happening, and to let go of thoughts instead of thinking. When you think something and then you think, oh, well, I wonder what that looks like if I do this with it, or I wonder what that looks like if I do this with it. Not to do that, just to think it and let it go.
Yeah.
Because we try all the time to sort of like control everything, or take charge of it, or mould it, but just letting it go, and then letting the next thought come in. Yeah. And Christine showed me how to do that, and I started to meditate, and sometimes I used to laugh because in a meditation I might just put out there something that needed to be done, or But the point is just to leave it. Once the thought is there, just let it go. And when you do that, it's amazing what comes back, what rebounds. And funny things would happen, you know, little things that I thought about that would suddenly happen and occur.
Yeah.
And I would laugh. It would make me laugh. It was like this like private joke thing. And actually, over the last year, not the last year, I suppose, I've really sort of got back into my meditation maybe the last 6 months or so. It's not that I didn't do it before, but it sort of came and went.
Yeah.
But now I really understand how important it is in my life. And some of the things that are happening are really just quite crazy. You know, really. It's like this whole... I decided that I was just going to say yes to opportunities. Yeah. And since I've done that, it's catapulted my life in a different direction, you know.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, just say yes. Just say well, you have to be careful with that. Yeah. You know, to opportunities.
Yeah.
I
think it's about the feeling, what you feel inside. You know, whether that's yours. You know, you can say yes to it.
Unless somebody said, "Go and sweep the floor."
Yeah,
of course I'll do that. Yeah, give me all your money. Yeah, of course I will.
Yes.
No, that's slightly different.
Yeah.
But yeah, opportunities, or you know, sometimes we listen. We have a conversation with somebody, but we don't really listen.
Yeah, that's right.
And because we're too busy trying to put our point across.
Yeah, trying to think what we're gonna say next.
Yeah. And instead of just like listening and going, wow, that's really good, and these are all skills that you can learn, but it's not. But understanding it doesn't just happen overnight. You know, you have to practice. It's a bit like riding a bike, which I need to practice. You have to practice if you want to be good. You know, you have to practice. You have to take the time it's repetition. It's
That's
about
repetition.
Constantly new behaviour, repetition, and those are the things that meditation. I would absolutely, you know, if you don't want to call it meditation, just sitting quietly.
Mm-hmm.
For at least 5 minutes a day, 5-10 minutes a day. Just sit quietly, take time out, and just. It's a bit like, the only way I can describe it, it's a bit like when you have a river and you want to see the bed of the river, but it's very muddy.
Mm-hmm.
If you wait long enough, as long as it's not a fast flowing river, if you wait long enough, at one point it will, even when it's a flowing river, the sediment will settle and it'll be clear. It's a bit like your brain, you know, your mind. Actually, it's your mind, not your brain. Your brain is slightly separate, but then that goes into another realm of discussion.
Final question I have. You know, we're reaching all over the place, and we can.
Yeah, you can edit.
Stay here forever. And we can edit as well because we're recording. I like some of the things, you know, that are coming. So sometimes I leave them. Yeah. I'm not cutting them out because they kind of make it fun and interactive. And final question I have, like, if you have a microphone, imagine you have a microphone, and whatever you say there, every person on earth would hear it, you know. Yeah. But you only have 3 seconds to say it. What you gonna say?
You know, just believe in yourself. Believe in yourself.
Cool.
I don't know why most people don't. You know, and the only thing they have is themselves. So why wouldn't you believe in yourself?
Cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all right.
John, thank you very much for your time, and appreciate you being here. Thank you.